So in this video, I want to address the overheating issue that the DJI Osmo Nano has been famously known for. So I stress tested the Osmo Nano to see if the recent updates that DJI put out for this camera have drastically improved the overheating issue that has been plaguing the DJI Osmo Nano. So I prepped my gear and made sure that I had everything ready to go for this stress test, and I tested the Osmo Nano at 10-bit D-Log M, 24 frames per second, as well as 60 frames per second. And then I did the same for the normal 10-bit color at 24 frames per second and 60 frames per second. And I also stress tested it to see how long I was able to record in time-lapse mode. And let's just say the results were pretty interesting. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. So for the prep, I went ahead and made sure that I deleted all the pictures out of my cameras, all the data, all the videos, just to make enough room. Made sure that the Osmo Nano had enough space. Charged up the Osmo Nano and made sure it was ready to go. Set up my camera to do a time lapse of the DJI Osmo Nano to make sure that I was capturing the whole process. The temperature was around 72 to 74 degrees, and then we just kicked it off. Right now, the DJI Osmo Nano has been recording for almost an hour. So right now we're at 51 minutes of continuous recording at 4K, 24 frames per second in 10-bit D-Log, and it's still going strong. So far I'm kind of impressed with kind of like how much it's recording, and it's not overheating. So check back in with you guys. The Osmo Nano was still going strong after like 90 plus minutes, so I just decided to turn it off because I was like, it looked like it was good enough for me. The battery is at 10%, so I think I'll just go ahead and end it because yeah, the vision duct is about to die, and technically I feel like if you can record continuously for an hour and 30 minutes, which is right now we're at 90 minutes. I think for me it passed the test. Same setup for test number 2. The Osmo Nano was going steady, but it ended up shutting off by itself after overheating. 17 minutes was the record time. So interesting. I had the Osmo Nano running at 60 frames per second, 4K in D-Log M, and it shut off. You know, I had it sit for, I want to say 30 minutes while it was charging because it went all the way down to I think 10%. So I recharged the camera, and at 4K 60 frames per second, the battery went from 99% to 68%. So that's as far as we got with that. So for test number 3, a normal 10-bit color, 24 frames per second, the Osmo Nano was holding up pretty well and was going steady, so I was impressed. All right, so it's looking like the Osmo Nano overheated and shut off after recording for an hour and 16 minutes. It's fairly warm to the touch. I think I'm gonna call it a night. So far, it seems like lower frame rates. It's doing pretty good with the lower frame rates. It can record longer. I feel like anything over 1 hour is solid, you know, for this. From the videos I was seeing, it seemed like we're talking recording for like 10 minutes and it would overheat. So temperature here in this apartment right now is like around 74 degrees, 75 degrees. So I don't know. I think it's holding up pretty good. So tomorrow I'll pick up where I left off and I'll do a 10-bit normal color at 60 frames, and we'll see what the results are. But so far I'm impressed with you know, the recording times. So day number 2, normal color. Yeah, the Osmo Nano didn't last too long. It just shut off and died. Okay, so the camera overheated, and I'm gonna stop it here. That's super interesting that it overheated after like about what seems to be like 14 minutes. So this is what we're getting here. It says device overheated, recording stopped. So 13 minutes. That's interesting. I feel like it kind of like ran a little bit longer on yesterday's test, but that's interesting. I don't know. Maybe the temperature was a little bit warmer today. I think it's about like 76 degrees today. Slightly warmer day, but not too crazy warm compared to yesterday. So I'll let the camera cool off. I'll charge it up again, and I'll run maybe one more test. For my last test that I ran on the Osmo Nano, I had the Osmo Nano doing a time lapse, and the Osmo Nano lasted for roughly about 10 minutes before it overheated and died. After reviewing everything and kind of looking back on the test, I will say that the updates that DJI put out has definitely improved the recording time for the Osmo Nano. Some of the earlier videos that I saw on the Osmo Nano before these updates came out, the Osmo Nano was averaging on everything under 10 minutes, and sometimes either in D-Log or in normal color 10-bit at 60 frames per second at a higher frame rate, it was cutting off in like about 2 minutes, 5 minutes max from some of the videos I've seen earlier on. So lower frame rates, the Osmo Nano seems to be solid, and for someone like me who shoots at 24 frames a majority of the time, it works. But at 60 frames, I think the longest we got was like 17 minutes. I still think that's pretty decent. I tend to shoot in shorter bursts, but if you're someone who wants to shoot longer, you might run into some problems with that. But that's pretty much it for this stress test. Hopefully you guys found it informative, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.